All right, I'll call the Fire Station Building Committee meeting today in order. It's Wednesday, May 14th. The time is 4:30 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Joe Ulick,
Present.
Jeff Matthews,
Present.
Dave Langevin,
Present.
Mike Langevin,
He should be popping in a minute.
Mike Julian.
I did not hear from either one of them, so.
Okay, John Shigda. 4 people, we have a quorum.
Okay. All right, approval of the minutes from the April 17th. Are there any errors, corrections, or anything that need to be done with the April 17 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. All right, moving forward, review and approval of action for development with the project to include but not limited to a project update. I know Rick is trying to get in the documents.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so earlier today I pushed out a project update along with some invoices and stuff for later. So the only thing that I'll open up with on the project update is we did have our first meeting with the contractor, and there was some discussion as to who would represent the town in the project team without making it subject to open meeting. So it made the most sense for myself and Mike Julian to be representing the town. That way we're basically on the regular schedule that's going to be there. And obviously we represent the building side as well as the fire station side. So that's what we went with for the beginning of that. And then Rick, do you want to lead in with the project update with what you have?
Yes, I'd love to. I'm sorry, for whatever reason, GoTo just doesn't work well with my computer. I don't know what the issue is, but so hello everybody. It's nice to, I can't see you, but it's nice to be here. Just a project update, and interrupt me whenever you want to. The contract was executed and signed on the 8th of this month. Immediately following that, notice to proceed was issued on the 8th. Establishing substantial completion on 8/31/26. That's 17 months. Final completion, I think that's 17 months, whatever we had incorporated into the documents. And then final completion will be obtained by October 30th, 2025. Any questions on that?
You mean 26, right?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah, I got 25 there, but that's too quick. 26, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Rick, can you just follow up? I still have not gotten those 2 originals back in the mail yet. That they were supposed to, the wet signature ones. So can you just follow up with them, make sure they send them out?
Yep. I'm just writing this down so I don't forget it. Okay, I'll get that. Yeah.
And then once I get that, then I'll send them their original contract back with the wet signature.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I sent you the digital copies, so, and we'll retain the hard copy in my office. Okay.
Got it. We conducted a pre-con meeting this week on the 13th. The meeting went very well. Basically, the purpose of the meeting is to do our introductions, meet the team, also lay the parameters for all of the administrative components of the project and protocol. I think the meeting went 2 hours, just over 2 hours. Jennifer, you did a great job. Thank you very much. We covered a lot of ground, and so that was beneficial. Going forward, we will have. I'll talk about weekly project meetings. There'll be Mondays at 2 p.m. The first meeting will be conducted actually on Tuesday because that Monday of the following week is Memorial Day. So our first full-blown project meeting will be Tuesday on the 27th. And then every week thereafter, they will go to Mondays at 2 o'clock. And I'm envisioning that the meeting on the 27th will also be virtual until we can either get a meeting location or the contractor has their trailers set up. And once the trailers are set up and activated, all of our project meetings will be conducted there. So like I said, the first full-blown project meeting will be on the 27th, and then the following Monday on the 2nd will be going weekly there forward. We talked about the attendees from the town being Deputy Chief and Mike Julian. We also went through the building permit application, and we're expecting that to be filed this week, today or tomorrow. I don't know, Jennifer, were you able to compile your documents yet? I haven't seen anything come across.
No, I'm still trying to get a couple of things from one consultant. I bugged them again and I don't have it yet. They haven't seen it. So better be tomorrow morning.
What vendor is that?
It's our structural. It's getting signatures from him on some things.
Okay. Can you give us an update tomorrow morning?
Sure.
So are we waiting for both the conformed drawings and the affidavit?
It's the affidavit actually that I'm waiting for. I do have his signed drawings. So I could get the drawings going, but I don't have all the affidavits. And the only affidavit I'm missing, I think, is his. And I don't have the statement of special inspections yet. That's the same person.
Okay. I'm not sure the statement of special inspections will be required for the building permit application. But if you have the conformed documents and stamped, I would make a recommendation that you get those into PDS's hands. And then just let Scott know that, well, we're just waiting for that one affidavit.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So we had talked a little bit about the building permit process at our kickoff meeting, and Mike Julian had indicated, as us in the industry understand, that there's a 30-day period of time that the building departments have to review and respond to building permit applications, but he's going to do his best to move that along. The most important date for us is that the permit application is filed before the end of June. So obviously filing it this week, we've met that milestone, and we're going to be operating under the 9th edition of the building code, which is what our goal was all along. Still talking about building permit application. Michael had, hold on one second. Just give me a second. Sorry about that.
Joe,
Is there a question out there?
nah, Joe, I just wanted to let you know, Mike Langeman, I'm on by phone.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so, Mike, you had indicated that the planning board wants to see, I'm assuming, the permit application submission, or do we know?
Mike Julian's not on the call right now, so we haven't been able to
Okay.
confirm that. I did forward that document that they had signed off on already.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a response of whether that was what we were addressing or no.
Okay, well, we'll get through it. As long as they're not looking for a reapplication. we'll be in good shape. The process has started, which is excellent. We're talked a little bit about site mobilization at our pre-con meeting, and the contractor would like to see themselves on site the end of next week, late next week, with fencing and erosion control and signage. We did have a discussion regarding the scope of work and limit of work for the contractor is out to the street line along Worcester and Winter Street, or Snow Street, excuse me. I think that Deputy Chief has some initial conversations with the police department and maybe even DPW about options to extend our fence line to encompass those fences or those sidewalks, and to see if there's anything we can do to create some temporary walkways or something along those lines. It's a very tight site, and the contractor is trying to get as much of their limit of work as possible. So we're going to have to work through that. It may be that they have to set up inside of the sidewalk line, and then when they're ready to take the sidewalk and interrupt it, they can do that. We'll have some conversations on that before they mobilize next week.
Yep, I've already spoken with the police chief, and he's given his approval for extending it right to the line, and we're just gonna add temporary crosswalks. And I have a meeting scheduled for 7 a.m. on Monday with the interim DPW director.
Okay. Okay. Are you going to meet on site on Monday?
Not likely. I provided overhead GIS documents for them to look at.
Okay. I'm just recording this. I'm sorry. I'm not recording it electronically. I'm just writing it down.
I'm sure Joe I'm sure Butch won't have any issues with that.
Okay.
Pretty confident he won't. We should be good.
Perfect. So as we go through this process on project, we're going to have a lot of pre-con meetings. For almost every phase, we're going to have, we'll have pre-installation meetings and pre-operational meetings. And the first one that I want to set up is a meeting regarding the soil management plan and, the soil excavation and removal process. So I'm going to be reaching out to everyone. The committee doesn't need to be involved with this. We'll be reaching out with our project team, KBA, the general contractor, Ty and Bond, in setting that up. If I can accomplish it next week, great. Or we can do it the week after. But I really don't want the contractor getting too much into their excavation procedures without having that pre-meeting. Then we'll do the same thing for every aspect of the project, the foundations, structural steel, all of those components. So it's a standard operating procedure to have these types of meetings. And we'll give you updates at the end of each month. This is kind of the format that we're going to use for our updates. It'll be far more detailed as we get into the project, but we'll generally talk about a project update, a schedule update, potential change orders, budget update, and invoices, and anything else that comes up. As far as the schedule goes, the contractor will be providing a very detailed schedule. At this point, what we do know is the start date and the end date. So there's nothing currently available. Then I have listed in here potential change orders. We don't have any potential change orders, but we, on a monthly basis, will be reporting to you anything that comes up, whether it be potential, actual, and we'll be having recommendations from the design team as well as the OPM for anything that does come up. Now, one of the things we thought would be healthy to talk about, and I don't know if it needs to be settled today or not, but traditionally what we see in our projects is that that there is an approval process for change orders that could involve, give you an example, the deputy chief, Mike Julian, the project architect, and the project manager in an interim basis and before the committee meetings. Everything has to be brought back to the building committee, but there could be an instance where something comes up and a quick approval needs to be made. And so what we like to do is recommend a sort of a threshold for approvals during the month, not to exceed a certain value. And then at the end of the month, they're ratified with the building committee. But it's only after there's been a 3 or 4 level approval process or recommendation process. What we've seen in the past is, you know, the deputy chief would have approval to authorize change orders, you know, not to exceed, you know, $10,000. And multiple change orders not to exceed an aggregate of, you know, say $40,000 or something like that. I don't see it happening, but it's certainly something that if we get into a situation where something comes up that needs to be approved, say it's an unforeseen condition, and we can't afford to wait until the end of the month because the contractor, say they uncover something on the site that hasn't been identified up to this point, and we need to work through it. Rather than stopping and letting the equipment stay idle for the period of time until we can get in front of the building committee, the deputy chief would have authority to approve a change order. I wanted to throw that out there now for discussion and see how everybody felt about it. And we can go from there.
Rick, is that something that you typically encounter in every committee that you deal with?
Yes, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. It's standard operating procedure, and there are subcommittees that approve changes on a regular basis and then bring them back to the full committee at the end of the month.
Okay.
Joe, we did the same thing with the school project. I can follow up with Scott about what the threshold was that we used, but pretty much he as the chairman had authority to make certain decisions on minor change orders to allow. But I'll follow up exactly what that was if you'd like. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we definitely you don't want to delay because then you're just getting into more cost anyway on as long as it's not a major change order. So.
All right. Anybody else have any feelings on it? I mean, obviously from my perspective, obviously we are under constant scrutiny of this project, and the intent is to have as few change orders as possible. But inevitably, we anticipate that there will be some. And in the case of holding up equipment, I think the flip side of it is it may cost us more to have this equipment idle than to make the decision in certain cases. And that's obviously a burden that I will hold if that's the committee's will. Cap, you had something?
Yeah, I support it. Knowing that we have that in place, and we may not need it, but if it is in place, at least we can keep the project going, and then we can discuss it afterwards. But yeah, I'm in support of it.
I totally agree too, Mike Langevin.
Yeah, I'm good with it too. I think it's a great idea. It's just another thing on Joe's plate, but he is totally fully invested in it. But I think it's a great tool to have just in case.
Well, that's great, Jack. If you want to get, you and I can communicate on this, and I do agree that it's another thing on Joe's plate, but the lifting component of it is the responsibility of the owner's project manager and the project architect. In other words, we are to review these, we're to verify them or reject them, and provide a recommendation after everything has been thoroughly vetted. So we're not asking for a lot of time other than the ability to sit down and discuss these.
Right, so is
that's
it
Thank you.
something that we want to vote on now, or do we want to wait until, do we want to use the 10,000, do the singular 10,000 figure for right now and then talk about an aggregate later?
Well, I think you don't anticipate any change orders today, so, right,
No,
Rick? I
there's
mean,
no-
this is something we can discuss in next meeting, right? Correct?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I can't in the wildest dreams think of anything.
Yeah.
Our goal is to have no change orders whatsoever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um,
If we have a change
but
order today, I'm gonna be really, really upset if we had a change order within 2 weeks of starting a project, trust me.
So
We're gonna start
So,
moving.
There'll be a lot of yelling if that happened, you know?
The thing is, the biggest possibility for that is in the earth moving. You know, they find something, oh my God, what do we do with this?
Right.
Uh,
But you're not gonna be moving earth until a couple weeks, so,
No, right, couple
right.
weeks,
yeah.
probably
So-
before the next meeting.
Okay, so Jack, you and I can and Joe can sort of collaborate on that, and then we can present something next meeting if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And I just like to be on at least the next meeting, so I know who these contractors are and put my face to them, you know, so that I can be
So-
you gotta loop me
okay,
into
so-
that as well as the manager, if you could.
Okay.
Because I'm
So you'd like
accountable to town councils in the town, so I want to make sure that, I don't need to be at every meeting, but I like to at least know who the players are. And
Okay,
get
so
to
you
meet 'em.
want to be to the next project meeting?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I got that. Okay. Would you like PDS to attend a committee meeting?
Well, I think it's, I think the committee would like to know who's building this project at least too, right? At least the principal.
Okay.
So I think that's
Okay.
important. So, because we're gonna have people asking us questions, and it'd be nice to know who they are and put a face to it. Absolutely. I
Okay.
know you're talking
So-
the next meeting is virtual, but we could find a room to have a meeting here if you wanted to. But
The next committee meeting, you mean?
yeah, the committee meeting or project meeting. Well, you could have the project meeting and invite the committee members in if they want, but it's entirely up to you. You and Joe can talk about it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I would highly recommend that you don't have a quorum at a project meeting, because then it has to be a posted meeting.
Absolutely.
And,
I got you.
So,
Yep.
I can invite PDS to our next committee meeting. And then Jack, I'll put you on the invite list for all of our project meetings, so you know when they are and they'll be in your calendar.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep.
Okay.
Because I'm not
Good.
a committee member, so it doesn't count as a quorum. So,
Right.
all right.
Yeah. So we need you there, and when you come in, don't say a word, just stare at everybody, and then just pound your fist on the table.
Yeah.
And then just say enough said.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Okay. So following along, I have a project update, a budget update for you. And that was sent around earlier. And I just wanted to just run through what we traditionally will provide on a monthly basis. You have it in front of you, or if someone wants to put it on the screen, that's great. I'm working on my cell phone, so I don't have that luxury. But the project.
Hey, Rick, if you could
budget-
do one thing in your documents, one thing,
Mhm.
you got to get rid of the H in Worcester, because there is no Worcester, it's Worcester.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Just,
Gotcha.
all right. Thanks.
I've been spelling it that way forever.
I know, but at some point somebody's going to say something.
All right, gotcha. So this is kind of a draft of what we would normally present. And then during the month, there's going to be, maybe there's a change order, maybe there's not, but the soft cost items is that will be changing as we start going through the project. We'll be buying out equipment. We'll be, getting the commissioning, on board and things like that. And so at the end of each month, we'll be maybe making recommendations that we saved some money here, and so we roll that back into contingency, or we had to increase an estimated value here, and this is why. Any changes that occur in the project budget, we will be providing you that update at the end of the month for your approval. It will be giving you recommendations. So as you can see, there are no recommendations for this period, which is the middle column. So we always start with, our starting budget is the April 17th, 2025, which was what we presented at our last meeting at the completion of phase 1, after the contract was awarded. So our starting budget was April 17th. And then our ending budget would be this meeting, which is May 14th. So we have no changes for the month. Then next month we'll be using our May 14th as our starting budget, and then making recommendations if necessary for budget modifications. And again, those are all based upon your approval.
Everybody see the screen?
Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you. And again, as we get into this project and we get into month 12, there'll be a lot more information to be presented, and so on and so forth. We do have 2 invoices following our budget update. So we do have 2 invoices, one for KBA, invoice 23, and one for Pomeroy, invoice 19.
Rick, I also had forwarded one from Ty and Bond to you. That was, I believe, half of the LSP costs for the tank removal. That one was $17.75, so we have that one as well.
Okay, I'd have to go backtrack and look at. I apologize for that. What was that invoice number?
TB 1018304.
And it was for
$75.50.
Okay. And that was for the underground storage tank that they provided licensed site professional oversight on.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I will pull that up and get you over a document with my signature on it.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything before we jump to the invoices? Do you have anything else, or does Jennifer need to chime in with an architect report? Or
Jennifer or Michael?
No, I think you've covered just about everything. So.
Okay. All right. So we had the budget update. Just as a quick note on the budget, it was if we approve all the invoices tonight, it is $5,044,000 is where we stand as dollars expended. So the first invoice they have is KBA's invoice, or Castle Booze. It's invoice number 21041.00-23, dated April 28th, 2025. And this invoice total is $11,250. Is there a motion?
Don't move.
Motion.
Okay, motion Jeff Matthews, Second, Mike Langevin. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Rick.
There is an outstanding balance on that. There's 2 invoices that are outstanding. They may have been received by the time this invoice was printed, but those 2 invoices were submitted to the building committee on the 16th of April.
Yep, I had spoken with Jennifer about those. They should have gone out in this week's warrant batch.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Joe Ulick,
Yes.
Jeff Matthews,
Yes.
Dave Langevin,
Yes.
Mike Langevin,
Yes.
and John Shugda. Yes. All in favor?
Okay. Next invoice from Pomeroy Associates dated 4/30/25. Invoice number 21.106.0-19 in the amount of $6,598.42.
So moved.
Okay, motion Dave Langevin, second Jeff Matthew. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Joe Ulick,
Yes.
Jeff Matthews,
Yes.
Dave Langevin,
Yes.
Mike Langevin,
Yes.
and John Shugda. All in favor?
And then that last invoice from Ty and Bond, TB 1018304, dated 4/30/25, in the amount of $1,775.50.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Dave Langevin, second, Jeff Matthew. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those, roll call, please.
Joe Ulick,
Yes.
Jeff Matthews,
Yes.
Dave Langevin,
Yes.
Mike Langevin,
Yes.
John Shugda. All approved.
Okay. Are there any open items that we know of at this point?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay. All right, discussion on the next meeting dates. Obviously, we have to have a further discussion about the pre-authorization of change orders. Where do we want to shoot for, Rick?
What we're trying to do is see if we can't parlay committee meetings on the same days as project meetings. So we wanted to sort of bounce that off the committee to see how they feel about that.
Not in the weekly frequency, though, correct?
No, that's correct. And let me just look. I'm sorry, I should have thought this through beforehand, because what we want to try to do is schedule our committee meetings so that they coincide with when the payment application will be completed. And I'm working through that schedule with Scott from PDS, but I'm almost thinking like the second Monday of every month. So the next meeting would be the 9th. We would have the payment application complete and signed off by that time, I'm sure.
Right, so the only thing that I would anticipate with that, I don't know if we want to back it up a week for that first one with remember I told you about the warrant schedule. So anything in after June 5th would not be submitted until the 18th of June, and then that wouldn't be paid out until into July.
Okay. So can you just remind me the warrant schedule?
So for upcoming, the next package would be due next Thursday. And then the next one after that would be June 5th, and then June 18th. And then I don't have the FY26 one yet, but that gets
You
us
think
to
it
the
would
end of the
follow,
year.
you think it would follow the same? So it's June 5th and June 19th, actually.
June 19th is a holiday, so it's backed up to the 18th.
Okay. So it sounds like it's the first and third Friday of every month.
So, well, Rick, typically we have payroll one week, warrant the following week. So it's an every
Yeah.
other week for warrants is what they're trying to do.
Right.
Christine is on vacation this week. I can circle back with her on Monday and get a better sense of that timing, if you like.
Okay. So let me check with Scott. So it sounds like what we'd be talking about is a meeting on the 2nd of June.
That would be better to get something
Yeah.
out and paid.
If the contractor has their payment application, if they're going to even have a payment application this month. My guess is they would for, their upfront costs, bonds and stuff like that. So can we pencil in the 2nd for the time being?
Yep. And then the only other piece that I have is what is the committee's feeling at this point? Obviously, that there's going to be some significant money moving around as this ramps up. And if we're going to be if the project group is going to be doing their meeting and kind of rolling into the committee meetings, does it make sense to move into a in-person in the town hall? That way, everybody that wants to have some conversation about the money that's exchanging hands. That way it's there.
I agree.
I agree.
Rick, does that sound plausible? Are you going to be able to do that? Okay.
I think that's kind of one of the reasons behind trying to stack the committee meeting after the project meeting, because everybody will be in town.
Okay. All right. So we'll plan for that. We'll plan for June 2nd at 4:30 in the town hall. And do we want to go any further than that, Rick, right now, or do we want to let that land and see where we go from there?
Yeah, why don't we just do that for now? And I'd like to, if I can get the warrant schedule for the next fiscal year, I can work out a schedule with the contractor, and so we're not going back and forth on this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So June 2nd, 4:30, town hall in person. And if nobody has anything else, thank you for your time.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you, everyone.